योऽन्ता प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तान् सञ्जीवयत किल शक्तिधरा स्वधाम्ना अन्यांश हस्तचरणश्रवणात्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्। कथाञ्चना स्मृते यस्मिन् दुष्करं सुकरं भवेत् विस्मृते विपरीतं स्यात् श्रीचैतन्य नमामि तम्। Hare Krishna, welcome to our weekly class on Srimad Bhagavatam. We will continue from where we left off last time, and also by Krishna's mercy, we've been continuously having these classes. I think almost now 7 to 8 classes we've had. More than that, since I came back from a travel. I think almost October 17, yeah, I came. 2 months, almost 8-9 sessions we've had. So it is very positive. Thank you very much for coming every week. And today we will continue from the first canto, 6th chapter. We are in a very interesting section of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are reading about Narada's realizations, which is sharing with Vyasadeva, right? And Narad Muni has now, in the previous section, we discussed about his travels. He's traveling. He's going to different places. And we discussed how he went through forests and metropolises, cities, and we discussed in detail our renunciant. He travels for a different purpose. He doesn't travel for sightseeing. A renounced order person should travel to see how God's mercy is working everywhere. If he also travels for sightseeing, then he is defeating the purpose of renunciation. All that we discussed. So we ended in a very interesting section where little Narada, 5-year-old boy, his mother has died, he has left home, he's in search of God, and he's washed his face, he's exhausted. And now after all of that, he's settling down under a tree, he's sitting down and he starts meditating on the Lord. So as he starts meditating on the Lord's form, so this section which we're going to discuss today, text number 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. These 5 shlokas we'll take today. This is a section in this chapter which discusses on meditating on the Lord's form. This is a section on how we can see the super soul in our heart, how we can see the Lord in our heart. We will see what Narada did. We all want to see Krishna, right? So you can follow Narada's footsteps. And this is the section which is what we will do today is a little different. Like every time we chant verse and translation. Today we will chant verse translation of all the verses in this section, and then we'll go back to the first verse and continue our discussion. Because sometimes our verses remain because of the discussion gets long on one particular verse. So last time who read the translations? You read. So today some Prabhuji has to, you will read? Okay, thank you. So we'll chant with text number 15. Please repeat. Tasminnirmanuje ranye pippalopasta ashritaah atmanatmanam atmastam yata shrutam achintayam.
After that, under the shadow of a banyan tree in an uninhabited forest, I began to meditate upon the super soul situated within, using my intelligence as I had learned from liberated soul.
Text 16. Dhyayatas charanam bhojam pavanirjita chetasa autkantaya shrukalakshasya hridiyasin me shaner hari.
As soon as I began to meditate upon the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, with my mind transformed in transcendental love, tears rolled down my eyes, and without delay the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, appeared in the lotus of my heart.
Text 17. Premati bara nirbinna pulakangoti nirvrita ananda samplavelino na pashyam ubhayam mune.
Vyasadeva, at that time, being exceedingly overpowered by feelings of happiness, Every part of my body became separately enlivened. Being absorbed in an ocean of ecstasy, I could not see both myself and the Lord.
Text 18. Rupam Bhagavato Yattan Manah Kantam Shuchapaham Apashyan Sahasotashte Vaiklavya Durmana Iva.
The transcendental form of the Lord, as it is, satisfies the mind's desire and at once erases all mental incongruities. Upon losing that form, I suddenly got up, being perturbed, as is usual when one loses that which is desired.
Are you sure? The same verse? We chanted 18, no?
Yes.
Okay. We chanted 18th, okay. Yeah, I didn't have the translation. Thank you. Text 19. Didrikshustad aham bhuya pranidhaya manordi vikshamanopi napashyam avitripta ivatura.
I desired to see again the transcendental form of the Lord. Despite my attempts to concentrate upon the heart with eagerness to view the form again, I could not see him anymore, and thus dissatisfied, I was very much aggrieved.
So this is a very interesting section. He started meditating on the Lord's form as he had learned from his teachers. And as he started practicing, he actually started getting ecstatic symptoms. He saw the Lord in his heart, tears started coming from his eyes, and he became extremely spiritually enlivened. He saw the form of the Lord. But then what happened? The form disappeared. So you have access to purports also. Okay. So we are going to read some very interesting sections. So here what has happened is now we are going back to the 15th verse. Narada has begun his meditation, you see, and he is using Atman Atmanam Atmastam. The verse says three times it comes. Means he started meditating on the soul, on him, on the connection of the soul with the Lord with this intelligence. Atmastam, the Lord who is situated within him. So like this. And Yatashrutam Achintayam. He started meditating on the Lord based on what he had heard from his teacher. He did not speculate. Basically, he was faithful to the teachings of the Bhakti Vedantists, the ones who had taught him. And he also used his intelligence. Basically, we have to use our intelligence, but our intelligence has to be subordinate to the teachings of superiors. Because our intelligence can cheat us also. So he used his intelligence, but he used his intelligence. The foundation was the teachings of his teachers. And then he started applying his intelligence to meditate on what his teachers taught. It's very important. Otherwise, many times if we only rely on our intelligence, intelligence can cheat us. Sometimes we say, mind can be controlled by intelligence, make your intelligence strong. Yes, that is true. Whenever scriptures say intelligence is stronger than the mind, that intelligence is referring to a higher intelligence, not our intelligence. Because if it comes to our intelligence, actually, intelligence is not so strong. Intelligence is in one sense weaker than the mind. How I'll explain. See, in the inner world, just like the outside world, we have laws which are taught to us. We are taught social etiquettes. We are taught how to smile, how to talk. In a social forum, we are told not to dig your nose with your finger. We are told all those things when we are children. In India, we are taught when you greet elders, you tell them, Namaste, uncle. All those things we are taught. But nobody has taught us how to live in the inner world. We have a world inside of us. And in the inner world, there's also some etiquette we have to follow. To follow that etiquette, we have to know who is who in the inner world. First, there is the unseen boss, who is called ego. He is like the mafia don who is not seen. There are some, if you see those old classic black and white Hollywood movies, action movies, the villain is never seen till the end. He's some unseen force. So ego is not seen, but ego issues a diktat. Like for example, the ego says, I am the enjoyer. That is what ego says. The ego has two loyal bodyguards. One is mind and the second is intelligence. The mind's job is accept and reject. Basically, as a servant of the ego. Ego is, what is the ego issue diktat? I am the enjoyer. I want to enjoy. That is what ego has declared. And mind has noted it. So now what is the mind's job?
Become the arrange for us our enjoyment.
No, arrange meaning. Accept and accept whatever comes in supporting enjoyment and reject what is not so. And what is intelligence job? Intelligence will give. See, mind will only accept or reject. But intelligence with the deep analysis, discrimination, it will start analyzing, giving points. All that is job of the intelligence. Like for example, somebody walks up to you and says, so the ego has declared, I am the enjoyer. So now the mind will declare, mind is only looking for accepting and rejecting. So somebody walks up to you and says, you are such a nice person, you're such a nice devotee, you are so good, I really feel so happy in your presence. I feel Maharaj has come when you talk. All those, this person flatters you so much. So the ego's bodyguard, mind will, what will mind do? Mind will accept or reject? Accept. The intelligence will give reasons why you should accept. Intelligence will say, see, that person is very good because he is very intelligent person. He studied in IIT and he knows what he's saying. If he's recognizing you as very intelligent and very good, that means he's right. He's such a nice. So intelligence will justify it. And tomorrow the same person you come to know is backbiting about you. Then what will the mind do? Mind will reject. Then what will intelligence do? Intelligence will say, see, he's from IIT, that's why he's become very proud. That's why you see sometimes, same person we like, sometimes we don't like. It's all because of the mind intelligence game governed by the ego. Like, for example, the Prime Minister may declare, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. That's it. After that, he's not getting into every nook and corner and detail of the announcement. Then he has immediate person below him who will accept or reject proposals, actions, which will help in achieving the objective. And then there are somebody lower who will actually execute it. So intelligence is what helps us execute and achieve. But intelligence is a servant of the mind. Therefore, when scriptures say intelligence is stronger than mind, that intelligence is referring to higher intelligence. Our intelligence is useless because intelligence will simply serve the mind. So therefore, we have to, of course, intelligence also in material sense is good. See, I'm just giving another context to it. There are different ways of seeing it. Intelligence is definitely, determination is much more powerful than simply the mind. But anyway, we don't want to get into technical details of mind and intelligence. We'll get lost. But the essence is, we need a higher intelligence. And Narada did not speculate. He just followed what his teachers had taught him. And based on that teaching, he started meditating. And that is now giving him results. So it is very important. If you see the purport, you have access to the purport. You can read the purport. Loudly?
15.
Yeah.
One should not meditate according
Loudly, huh? Okay. All of you, please pay attention. It's a very important purport.
One should not meditate according to one's personal whims. One should know perfectly well from the authoritative sources of scriptures through the transparent medium of a bona fide spiritual master, and by proper use of one's trained intelligence for meditating upon the super soul dwelling within every living being. This consciousness is firmly developed by a devotee who has rendered loving service unto the Lord by carrying out the orders of the spiritual master. Sri Narad Ji contacted bona fide spiritual masters, served them sincerely, and got enlightenment right now. Thus, he began to meditate.
Yeah. So he is contacted bona fide spiritual masters and he followed their instructions. It's very important. Srila Prabhupada has given us some instructions. We sincerely follow that, and then our own journey will reveal many things to us. But if we don't have somebody guiding us, see, for everything we need training. People learn dancing also, they go to a proper teacher. For everything they have guru. For everything they have teacher. To learn dance, to learn business, for everywhere they, for learning karate, they need a coach. Even a normal, you see this, I go to Vada Visui at that Cheknaka, you see so many trucks coming to Mumbai. These lorry drivers, how they become lorry drivers. For many years, they massage, as a young boy, they join. They start massaging the feet of the driver, the boss, they clean the lorry, they get him chai, and one day he allows them to touch the steering wheel. So even to become a lorry driver, you need a guru. In the kitchen also, first you are told to cut sabzi. So similarly, for understanding Krishna, for having a relationship with Krishna, we need training. And when we are under a guru, when we are under a teacher and learn properly, then everything falls in place. Like Burijan Prabhu, one of the most senior devotees in ISKCON, he is a guru, a very senior disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He says he was in a very difficult situation when he was serving in ISKCON, Hong Kong. And he was having a desire that I should leave everything, go to Vrindavan and study scriptures and teach, because he's a teacher. But Srila Prabhupada looked at him and he said, Prabhupada, I want to go. Prabhupada, no, just do seva now. And after 10 years, you can go. So he got busy in service and he actually forgot them because the service got so absorbing. And then one day, just exactly after 10 years, he got an order to go and study and teach in Vrindavan. And then as he was packing and he was leaving, he realized, hey, wait, 10 years ago, I had expressed this desire and I was told this. So things started manifesting. So it's very important because, we all will be put in situations sometimes where we will have nobody. Like Narada right now is a young boy. There is nobody around him. Only animals are there. He's in a forest, remember. His mother has died. He has left. Do you realize all of us, at some point in our life, we will feel we are alone. हम सब अकेले हैं, पर लोग कभी-कभी आपको एहसास भी दिलाते हैं उसका. Otherwise, we are anyways alone. But लोग एहसास बीच-बीच में दिलाते रहेंगे आप. And what will you do at that time? So we have to connect to Srila Prabhupada. We have to connect to our teachers. And that, because nobody will come and see in this world, nobody comes and tries to give you affection, love. They may give for their own interest. But selfless करके कुछ नहीं. Unconditional कहीं नहीं. That is only with Krishna. कोई नहीं मिलता समझने वाला. जो भी मिलता है समझा के चला जाता है. ये दुनिया का रूल है ना? So then you will feel, अरे nobody loves me, nobody understands me. So therefore Narada could have gone into that emotional thing, but he left. Pratishtham Vishamuttaram, last time we studied. So we all will be put in situations where the person you thought you loved the most won't be there for you. So that time these teachings help. So what did Narada do? This young boy, he went to a banyan tree and he sat under Pippalo Pasta Ashrita. He sat under a banyan tree and started meditating. So, our His Holiness Radha Govinda Swami Maharaj is one very senior guru. He always, whenever he sees a Bargat ka ped and People ka ped, banyan tree and People tree is fig tree. Both fig, People, it's like a banyan tree, bolte hain usko bhi, but it is a smaller. People tree ka leaves aisa hota hai, banyan tree ka bada branches hota hai. So banyan tree, according to our Vedic scriptures, is Shiva Vas, and the People tree is Vishnu Vas. So whenever he sees these trees, he offers Dandavat. So even when I go to Hanging Garden, I see, before entering the Hanging Garden, there is one People tree. You have to parikrama of that, offer respects, and then inside there is a huge banyan tree. So when we connect, when we sit under that tree, there is some spiritual connection. So this is all there. And Yata Shrutam Achintayam, and he started practicing meditation as was taught to him by his teachers. And he went on advancing. The next verses reveal that he started getting tears in his eyes. He started developing affection for Krishna because he was sincerely following. See, Srila Prabhupada has written 3 things in this purport here, which just now Prabhuji read. That he followed scriptures, he followed spiritual master, and he used his intelligence. Are you seeing this? All 3 are needed. What? Scriptures, spiritual master, and intelligence. All three are needed. Means scriptures matlab shastra. Teachers matlab guru. And intelligence matlab buddhi. Guru, shastra, and buddhi. All three are needed. Guru को blindly नहीं करते follow. अपना intelligence भी use करते हैं. But if what Guru is saying is in line with what is given in scriptures, like that, then the meditation becomes bona fide. And Narada had this background of service to devotees, and that's why he got the intelligence to follow what they said. That's why he had this maturity. Like, in the second canto, Shukdev Goswami in one verse says that if we take training under those who are dedicated themselves to Krishna, then even if you are a Tiriyak Jana, means even if you are a very low graded person, you can be elevated to a very exalted consciousness. So that means just imagine what will happen to advanced people and more evolved people. If you're already evolved, if you're already seeking a higher truth, then what will happen? And the 16th verse reveals what happened in the 16th verse translation. Can you read that again loudly?
As soon as I began to meditate upon the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, with my mind transformed in transcendental love, tears rolled down my eyes, and without delay the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, appeared on the lotus of my heart.
Krishna appeared in his heart. What does that mean? When Krishna appears in our heart, what does that mean? What will happen? Let's say, how do you know Krishna is there in the heart? I mean, Krishna is always there, but how do you know Krishna is manifested? It means you will be happy. You may say, but I'm happy when I watch Netflix. No, that's a different happiness. What we think is happiness in this world is actually pleasure. There is a difference between pleasure and, all of you know what is the difference? Pleasure is something which titillates the senses. The nose, eyes, touch, ears. But happiness is something deeper. Nothing more to achieve. There is no, you are at peace with yourself. Pleasure means you're always agitated. You want more. I'll give a simple mundane example. I go to Hanging Garden for a walk sometimes. So I was walking. So I do clockwise. Yeah. Because there are some tulsi plants in the middle of the garden. I feel production ho jayega unka. Most people do clockwise in garden, but some people do anti-clockwise. So one lady was coming from the opposite direction. And I was walking, chanting, suddenly strong perfume. It was so strong. It was fragrant, but it was strong. In one sense, it was for the senses. And after some time, I walked ahead. That gardener of that place, he had just watered the plants and the flowers. And the water mixing with the earth had created a natural fragrance of the flowers. And when that fragrance entered my nostrils, the experience I had was much deeper than simply a perfume. All of you have experienced this. You watch the rain outside your window, and then you watch rain on your electronic screen. You see, there is no comparison. You see a dog barking on the street, and if you are just present as you are seeing the dog bark, and you see the moon above, and you see birds flying, you see that sight. What sight I'm talking about? If you are present when seeing what? What is the example I'm giving? You're seeing a dog bark in the street with birds are chirping, flying around you, and you're just present. Compare this with seeing Avatar, the latest movie. It's all razzle dazzle, and I'm sure I've not seen it. I'm just saying because I can see it from the, when you come to Bandra, and I travel to Borivali 3-4 times a week. The huge billboard, even if you don't want to see it, you see it. So I was saying, I could immediately understand there are special effects. But what is that compared to the natural effects? So this is the way to understand the difference between pleasure and happiness. So we are exposed to pleasure all the time. But Krishna manifesting in the heart means there is deep satisfaction. So much so that even if your life is filled with misery, you are like, you are in pain, but you are at peace. It's a paradox. You are like, and you become a wise philosopher. You will say, तजुर्बे ने एक ही बात सिखाई है, नया दर्द ही पुराने दर्द की दवाई है. Life is like that. You get pain, but ठीक है, दूसरा, life will go on. You're not brooding about, you're not looking for immediate painkillers and relief. You seek something deeper. So Lord manifesting in the heart means you could be in pain, but you're not looking for painkillers. See, when you have a headache, you may take a painkiller. Similarly, when you have emotional pain, we take painkillers. Like many of us absorb ourselves in YouTube, OTT, movies. Electronic gadgets are a great relief for emotional pain. Many people have explained, they have shared the realization that when they're going through challenges in life, some relationships are breaking, business losses, and they've noticed that whenever they have gone through lows in their life, they have seen that during the same period of time, there is a corresponding increase in their social media activity. So then they could connect that when I'm in pain and distress, I'm involved more in social media. That means we seek painkillers, we seek relief from emotional pain. But when we have Krishna, when Krishna manifests in the heart, the pain will be there. Business loss may happen. But what will happen is you'll not seek painkiller. You will seek the medicine of a relationship with Krishna, and that will satisfy and cure in a much deeper way. Like, to give a very mundane example, there was one young boy called Abhas Kumar Ganguly. He was wanting to sing songs at home. In a village in Bengal, he took his harmonium. He started playing in his cacophonic, loud, disturbing voice. Everybody in his family told him, shut up, don't sing. But he wanted to sing, and everybody was saying, you are braying, you're not singing. Stop it. But he would just keep practicing for hours and hours. Everybody was irritated, but they were tolerating him. And he was a young boy. One day he went to the kitchen, his mother was cooking, and she had this big knife, kitchen knife, and she had kept it on the floor. And accidentally this boy stepped into it and broke his thumb. And he started bleeding profusely, and the blood was cascading out of the kitchen, and he was in great pain. And during those days, medical facilities were very rudimentary, so he couldn't get any treatment. So they went to some doctor. The doctor gave him some injection, but it was paining. And for the next 2 weeks, 24/7, he was only screaming in pain. And after 15 days, when the pain kind of subsided, and when he sat down to sing, everybody was stunned by his voice. His voice was magical. And that boy, Abbas Kumar Ganguly, went on to become Kishore Kumar. So what happened? So in the pain, he didn't take a painkiller. He just screamed out. So similarly, when devotees go through emotional pain, we have so many things that will give us relief. But if we first of all live with that pain, just be with that pain. Pain hai, accept it. No, but it's paining, Prabhuji. I want to cry. Cry. Who's telling you not to cry? Have a good cry. Like people say, have a good laugh. People say, I want to come to Hare Krishna program. Prabhuji, aap acha joke bolte ho, acha shairi bolte ho. Hasi aata hai mujhe, acha maza aa gaya. Pura stress nikal gaya. So I feel happy. Chalo, aapke जीवन में कुछ तो हंसी आ गया. But I'll be happy even if you cry. Don't worry. There's nothing wrong in crying. Have a good cry. Release it. Because all the toxins will go out. So when you cry, instead of taking a painkiller, emotional painkiller, but when you release all your toxins, it's like that boy crying in pain. What happened? He discovered his real voice. Mellifluous, melodious voice of Kishore Kumar. Similarly, we may be in emotional pain, but instead of seeking this very superficial painkillers that this world is offering, what we suggest is you cry to Krishna, chant Hare Krishna, meditate on Krishna's form, It will be a little longer, it will be distracting, it will not be so easy, but nothing good comes easy. Prabhuji, but Hare Krishna, we are supposed to be happy, no, in Hare Krishna. Krishna consciousness promises happiness, no? No. Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada taught us like this, He didn't say Krishna consciousness will remove all your problems. His focus was Krishna consciousness is worth it. There is a difference between something being worth it and something solving your problem. This is worth it because you will feel loved by Krishna. And when you feel loved by Krishna, then anything this world will offer will pale in comparison. So there will be pain. There will be suffering. Nobody can escape. है गुजर जाएगा ये दौर भी गालिब. Mirza Ghalib said these lines. गुजर जाएगा ये दौर भी गालिब, जरा इत्मीनान तो रख. जब खुशी ही न ठहरी तो गम की क्या औकात है. Now our happiness doesn't stay. Our misery will also not stay. So devotee is able to see Tam Titikshasva Bharata. He is able to say, oh, this is the wave. It has come, it will go. Another wave will come, it will go. So therefore, this Narada, he was not affected by his mother's dying untimely. He just focused on the teachings, and Krishna is now manifested in his heart. But now there's a twist in the story. What happens? Let's see. Verse number 17 translation. Can you read? Oh, you don't have access? Somebody else can. Rajan Prabhu, you have access?
I can read.
Now you can read loudly. 17 translation.
Oh, Vyasadeva. At that time, being exceedingly overpowered by feelings of happiness, every part of my body became separately enlivened. Being absorbed in an ocean of ecstasy, I could not see both myself and the Lord.
Means anybody here, I'm asking you this, you have experienced so much love for Krishna that you are not able to see Krishna properly. Have it happened to anyone like that? People to इतना प्यार आ रहा है और इतना आंखों से आंसू बह रहा है भगवान को देखे कि मैं भगवान को देख नहीं पा रहा हूँ. I mean, that is what this boy is experiencing. The only other example I know is in the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, where we find the gopis. Yasyananam makara kundala charu karna brajat kapola subhagam savilasahasam nityotsavam na tatrapur drishibir pibantyo naryo narascha mudita kupita nimescha. The gopis are lamenting. Yasyananam makara kundala charu karna. They are seeing Krishna's beautiful eyebrows, earrings, Krishna's smile. Brajat kapola subhagam savilasahasam. His forehead is very attractive. And vilasahasam, Krishna's smile is very enchanting. He doesn't laugh fully and he doesn't even have a frown. He's just the right kind of smile, which is enchanting. Savilasahasam. So when the gopis are seeing that, Sukadeva Goswami says, it's like a continuous festival. Nityotsavam, utsavam, eternal festival. But generally in a festival, you are happy, you are satisfied. But what was the gopi situation? Nityotsavam na tatrupur. They were not satisfied. Drishibir pibantyo. They wanted to drink more and more of Krishna's beauty. Naryo narascha mudita. Both men and women were desperately just wanting to keep looking at Krishna. Then they got angry, the gopis got angry. Kupita nimescha. They got angry with Brahmaji because Brahmaji has created these eyelids. They keep blinking every two seconds. So for those 2 seconds, they are not able to see Krishna. So that is the intensity that a devotee can reach in his love for Krishna, in her love for Krishna. So if you read the purport of this verse, you have access there. Yeah, Prabhu, you read.
Spiritual feelings of happiness and intense ecstasies have no mundane comparison. Therefore, it is very difficult to give expression to such feelings. We can just have a glimpse of such ecstasy in the verse of Sri Narad Muni. Each and every part of the body of senses has its particular function. After seeing the Lord, all the senses become fully awakened to render service unto the Lord, because in the liberated state, the senses are fully efficient in serving the Lord. As such, in that transcendental ecstasy, it so happened that the senses became separately enlivened to serve the Lord. This being so, Narad Muni lost himself in seeing both himself and the Lord simultaneously.
Here, Srila Prabhupada is talking about how the senses have become spiritualized. See, like, Prabhupada would give this example many places about iron. When you put iron in fire, iron rod in fire, it becomes so fiery that it has the properties of the fire at one point of time. Similarly, the senses, when they are absorbed in Krishna, they become spiritualized. So that even not like, it's just like Narada's example is here. In the fourth canto, we find Dhruva also same thing happened. He was seeing the Lord and his senses got completely enlivened and spiritualized. That's why His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj often says this, that, he says our heart, all our senses, he says our senses are like holes. He says in a hole, you put many things to fill it up. But these senses and our heart, whatever you put inside that, music, movies, cricket, whatever, he says that hole will remain a hole. It will remain empty. And then he says, only when you fill that hole with the complete whole, WHOLE, then that whole will become complete. That's why Dhruva, when he's seeing the Lord, see, when Dhruva Maharaj is praying intensely and he's meditating on just like Narada is meditating on the Lord's form, right? So Dhruva is also meditating on the Lord's form. And he's seeing the Lord's form in his eyes. And then when the Lord appears and he opens his eyes, Lord is there in front of him. And the Lord, with his conch shell, touches his head, forehead. And then the first prayer he offers, which I chant before the class, you must have noticed one prayer I chant, that is Dhruva praying to the Lord that please allow all my senses to be enlivened with you. I want you to enter every part of me. Yontah pravishya mama vachamimam prasuptan sanjivayat akila shakti dhara swadhamna anyamscha hasta charana shravanat vagadim prana namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam. So Dhruva is saying, Yontah pravishya, mere andar pravesh karo aap. He's telling the Lord, aap mere andar aa jao. Just imagine Krishna enter. It's like Krishna entering your house or some great, even an ordinary, some mundane hero, star, Bollywood star, cricket star enters your house. What happens? Just imagine the supreme, most attractive personality enters our heart. So he's saying, he's appealing to the Lord. Yonta pravishya mama vachamimam prasuptan, enter my words. And then what you do? Sanjivayat. Sanjivayat means, mara hua usko zinda kar do. Somebody told me, पहले लोग मरते थे, आत्मा भटकती थी. अभी आत्मा मर चुके, लोग भटक रहे हैं. We're so dead, we are so lifeless. We become zombies just watching the idiot box, that computer screen, electronic screen, पूरा movies देख के ऐसा dull हो गया, ऐसा कुछ excite ही नहीं करता. I was going to somebody's house. His family is not devotees. He told me, let's go inside the room. तो अंदर लेके गया. तो जाते जाते मैंने वो क्या टीवी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक स्क्रीन कहीं पे भी खुला रहता है ना, you can't not see it. Like in the airports, the breaking news, I don't know how a neck. वो ऐसा चला जाता है उधर. So as I was going to the room, I saw, and this fellow is, I don't know who was his relative, was sitting in front of the TV screen. Dull ekdam I saw. And that on the screen, those 3 seconds, I saw one big octopus came, some 70, 80 colors flashed, and somebody was shouting. And I realized, my God, so much of bombardment just to agitate him and make him alive. मतलब इतना उसको करना पड़ रहा है. I said, my God, so much bombardment on the senses just to shake him. That's how we are, we are like so desensitized. So Dhruva is saying, Sanjivayat akila shakti dharasvadhamna. Everything is there in you, my dear Lord. You enter with make me full of life. And then not just my words, anyamsha hasta charana shravana tvagadin, everything. Prana namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam. You are the one who's giving me life force. So a devotee's prayer is meditating on Krishna means what Narada is doing is, this is our mood. We want Krishna to enter us, and any vibration of the body which is not connected to Krishna, that is material sound. So we want, it's like basically like sleeping. We are sleeping right now. But when we talk about Krishna, when we hear about Krishna, when we see Krishna's beautiful form, we are getting purified. So Narada is experiencing that. He's got enlivened. Every sense is getting spiritually surcharged. And then what happens in text number 18? Translation.
The transcendental form of the Lord, as it is, satisfies the mind's desire, and at once erases all mental incongruity. Upon losing that form, I suddenly got up, being perturbed, as is usual when one loses that which is desirable.
So he was meditating on the Lord and he saw the form was revealed to him. He saw the form in the heart also. And then he was so excited, he opened his eyes, but he lost the form. Bhagwan, he lost it. He was able to see the beautiful form of the Lord, that form which can vanquish all the contamination in our heart. He saw that.
That was with closed eyes.
No, his eyes were closed, he was meditating. But he saw the Lord. See, we have, our senses, we have an inner sense also. Like, if you see an object very intensely and then you close your eyes, you actually sometimes see it. Like, when I was recently, somewhere I was walking in some place. So there's somebody, Panwala was playing this old Bollywood song, which I used to hear when I was a college student. Some nice song, And then, andar aa gaya. Aur gunjne laga. Reh ke aane laga. Next. It was as if it is being played. And then one day I was giving a class after 2 days, Radha, Jai Radha Madhava, and it was playing, that song was playing inside. That is the power of sound. Of course, now I don't even remember the song. The point is, we have an inner sense, inner ears, inner eyes. So when we meditate on the Lord's form, when we take darshan of Radha Gopinath, we are seeing the Lord with our eyes. And then when you are asleep at night, the Lord will appear. So Narada, but when he opened his eyes, the Lord was lost. See, Dhruva also saw the form of the Lord. But when he opened his eyes, the Lord was present before him. That is the difference between Dhruva and Narada. But Narada lost the form and he didn't get to see the form again. That we will see in the next verses. Next time also we'll discuss in detail. So there's a reason why Narada could not see. It's not a mindless thing. There is some reason for that. Anyway, in this verse, purport, second paragraph, can you read?
As spiritual beings having eternal relations with that transcendental form of the Lord, we are, life after life, searching after that form of the Lord. And we are not satisfied with any other form of material appeasement. Narad Muni got a glimpse of this, but having not seen it again, he became perturbed and stood up all of a sudden to search it out. What we desire life after life was obtained by Narad Muni, and losing sight of him again was suddenly a great shock for him.
Yeah, see, he was what we're all looking for, life after life. See, when our eyes, always want to see the most beautiful form. And he saw the most beautiful personality and he lost. So, and that was he was happy, then again a shock. Because Krishna's form is the solution for all our distress. See, we are in distress. Like, the Bhagavatam says that, Bhagavatam is a very graphic example of a dog which goes to one situation to the next, to one master, to the next master, to one house, to the next house to get some food. So, Bhagavatam says we keep going from one relationship to the next, one situation to the next, one job to the next, just looking for some happiness. That is our journey. And then the dog sometimes gets food, sometimes gets danda. Similarly, we sometimes get some pleasure, we don't get. Only when we come to Krishna, that this verse in the Bhagavatam is like this. Kshut parito yata dina shamayo graham graham charan vindati adishtam dandam odanam evava. The dog is going to graham, going to different houses, but sometimes he gets dandam. So that is our situation. Our search will never end unless we come to Krishna. See, Bhagavatam gives sometimes strong examples because Bhagavatam wants to shake us. Bhagavatam philosophy is very simple. Afflict those who are comforted and comfort those who are afflicted. Okay. So when you feel very afflicted, then Bhagavatam will describe Krishna's beauty in such amazing verses that you will feel, wow. And आपको लगेगा वाह कितने अच्छे कृष्ण कितने अच्छे हैं, and then you will think you are a great and pure devotee, and suddenly Sukadeva Goswami will say you are a rascal or you are a pig, and then you will wake up. So it's a balance of both giving you comfort and shaking you. So Krishna's form is Sarvendriya Punanjanam, 100% pleasing to the senses. See, why we have deity worship elaborately in ISKCON? Why we have all these beautiful deities in all the ISKCON temples? Because spiritual beauty satisfies the soul. Material beauty agitates. You see, the most beautiful man or woman, after some time, how the nature takes a toll. and it can be very, very disappointing. And when we get satisfied by Krishna's form, nothing else of this world will satisfy us. Now we have this beautiful letter, a love letter, which Rukmini wrote to Krishna, and we find in the 10th canto. So now this is very interesting. During those days, this 5,000 years ago, Rukmini is a young girl. She's in the palace, and all those sages who come there are glorifying Krishna. So she's constantly hearing about Krishna. She's not met Krishna. She's not even seen picture of Krishna. She's only heard. So then now she wants Krishna to come and kidnap her because her father and brother are planning to get her married to Shishupal. So she's in anxiety. So she calls a trusted Brahmana. She writes a letter to him, to Krishna, and she sends the letter to this Brahmana. So when Krishna receives the letter, the first prayer that she writes in that letter is Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara shunvatam te nirvishya karna vivarei haratonga tapam rupam drisham drishamatam akhilartha labam vayachyuta vishata chittam apatrapam me. She says, my dear Krishna, Shrutva, I've been hearing about you so much. I know that you're the most beautiful personality. Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara shunvatam te nirvishya karna vivare. If you keep hearing about Krishna, haratonga tapam, all that burning experience that you have in your heart. वो ना जो gum, वो जो irritation, that all pervading discontentment and irritability which is there, है ना? सबका है ना कुछ तो. My mind is like that, it's always what is that saying? मन खुश है तो एक बूंद भी बरसात है, दुखी मन के आगे समुंदर की भी क्या औकात है. So हमारा मन इतना दुखी है कि even if we get everything, we are not happy. So that always constant feeling of dissatisfaction is there. So she's saying निर्विश्य कर्ण विवरय हरतोंगा तापम. जो ताप है, जो burning है, the relief from that anxiety we will get when we hear about Krishna. And then she's saying Rupam drisham drishamatam akhilartha labham. We all want labha. We all want gains and profit. She says akhilartha labham. The greatest gain we can ever get is Rupam drisham. If we can get to see your form, that is the culmination of the greatest blessing. Akhilartha labham. And then she's telling Krishna, Vayachyuta vishata chittam apatrapam. Krishna, I want you to come and take me away. And now during those days, girls would not write love letters to boys like that. So Rukmini is thinking, Krishna may think that who is this girl? How is she so shameless? So she is writing, Vishata chittam apatrapam me. Your form, your narrations, you are responsible for me becoming shameless. Apatrapam me means shameless. I have become shameless. So now you come and take me away. Like that she's saying. And then in the next verse she says, Katvam mukunda mahati kulashila rupa vidya vayo dravinadam abiratma tulyam dhirapati kulavati navrinita kanya kale narasimha naraloka mano biramam. She's saying, Krishna may say, who am I? Why do you want to marry me? I'm not good. I'm good for nothing. I'm simply a coward boy. I was roaming with the cows in the forest of Vrindavan. Now I'm staying in Dwarka, but I'm nobody. So she's clarifying, I want to marry you because Atvam Mukunda Mahati, you can give liberation to everyone. Kula Sheela Rupa, in character, in beauty, in parentage, you are the best. Because this is what a girl's side will see in a boy. So Tino acha hai. And then what? Vidya Vayo Dravinada. In knowledge, you are the best. Vidya Vayo, in youthfulness, you are the best. You are the most chivalrous. Dravinada. Paisa bhi hai aapke paas. Oh, everything is there. Vidya Vayo Dravinadam Abhiratma Tulyam. And you can be compared with only one person, and that is you. And I am from a very cultured family, she is clarifying. Hira, Pati, Kulavati, Navrini, Takanya. I'm not an ordinary girl, I'm from a very good family. And my sobriety is affected by you. That means you are really qualified. So then after hearing all this, Krishna may say, oh, you are like a typical girl, who is now, because I'm wealthy, I'm good and all this, you are praising me, but once married, then you will control me. शादी के बाद पूरा मुझे कंट्रोल करेंगे आप. ऐसा कृष्णा में थिंक लाइक somebody was saying, भारतीय नारी अपने पति को सब कुछ मानती है पर उसका कहना नहीं मानती. Somebody was joking like that. So कृष्णा में से अच्छा रुक्मिणी तो ऐसा लिखा तो है, but now afterwards she'll control me. So in the last line she says, Krishna, please don't think that I'm writing this because ultimately I have to flatter you, and once you get married to me, then I'll control you. No, who can control you? Kale Narasimha Naraloka Mano Viramam. You are Kala, you are time, and you are Narasimha. You are half man, half lion. Mano Viram, and you are the most pleasing to the mind and senses. So, therefore, so she's saying, I have shamelessly, apatrapam, I have shamelessly fixed my mind on you. So Bhagavatam is teaching us that don't be shy. Just connect with Krishna. So what happened to Narada in this case? He saw the Lord's form and then what happened? He lost it. So what did he do after he lost the form? That is revealed in the translation of the next 19th verse.
I desire to see again that transcendental form of the Lord, but despite my attempts to concentrate upon the heart with eagerness to view the form again, I could not see him anymore. And thus dissatisfied, I was very much aggrieved.
See, he tried to do the same process again. But नहीं, वो गया अभी गया. He thought वो वापस मैं करता हूँ, वैसे ही करता हूँ. Like yesterday you must have chanted and you must have felt very ecstatic. So today you try to chant the same way. No, Krishna loves to play hide and seek. You can't just, like I don't know if you have experience. Sometimes you cook a very good recipe, अच्छा कुछ तो अच्छे से बनाते हैं. Next day you try the same thing, same ingredients. It doesn't come out the same way. It happens, right? We dress deities. So every Tuesday every Monday I get chance to dress deities. So after dressing, I feel we perfect हो गया. Then I go back, reflect क्या किया. Next week I did the same thing. नहीं होता है. So it happens with all of us. What does it prove? What is needed? Grace. There is a power beyond you that is needed. So what does Prabhupada write in the purport? Can you please read, Prabhu?
There is no mechanical process to see the form of the Lord. It completely depends on the causeless mercy of the Lord. We cannot demand the Lord to be present before our vision, just as we cannot demand the sun to rise whenever we like. The sun rises out of his own accord, so also the Lord is pleased to be present out of his causeless mercy. One should simply await the opportune moment and go on discharging his prescribed duty in devotional service of the Lord. Narad Muni thought that the Lord could be seen again by the same mechanical process which was successful in the first attempt. But in spite of his utmost endeavor, he could not make the second attempt successful. The Lord is completely independent of all obligations. He can simply be bound up by the tie of unalloyed devotion, nor is he visible or perceivable by our material senses. When he pleases, being satisfied with the sincere attempt of devotional service, depending completely on the mercy of the Lord, then he may be seen out of his own effort.
Beautiful purpose. Basically, the essence is we cannot barge into the kingdom of God. You cannot say, Krishna, मैंने ये सब किया, अभी दिखाओ, आ जाओ मेरे सामने. In India, before coming to ISKCON, this is our idea of God. Demand God. देवा हो देवा, गणपति देवा, और तुमसे बढ़कर कौन, और तुम्हारे भक्त जनों में हमसे, I am the greatest, so appear before me. Give me, I demand. I come from Karnataka, so we have Chamunda Devi temple there, Mysore. So it's very good. They blast this song, Chamunda Devi's song, Durga Devi's song. Vara Vardhan. Vara Kodi, Chamundi, Kodi matlab do. Vara Kodi, and then the singer is shouting at the top of his lungs, Vara Kodi, Vara Kodi, Vara Kodi, Chamundi, give me, give me. So two devotees may be chanting with the same intensity. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. One may be yearning in the heart, Krishna, please come before me. Krishna, I have no qualification. I really want to see you. Sincerely, knowing that it is up to Krishna's grace. And the second devotee is also chanting, but he may be thinking, I am chanting 1600 for the last 20 years and still you're not appearing before me. So in his subconscious mind, he may be thinking like that, the attitude of demanding. I've ticked all the boxes and Krishna, you're still not revealing yourself to me. This is injustice. So externally, both may be doing intense bhakti, but it's ultimately your heart. What is your mood? So a devotee is somebody who knows that I cannot barge into the kingdom of God. If Krishna doesn't sanction, I cannot get that. So what I will do, I will focus on my prescribed duty. I will focus on chanting my rounds. I will focus on serving devotees. And still after so many days I don't get, then I'll yearn, Krishna, please, but I will not demand. So, you know that famous Damodar pastime, Lord is bound up by that Damodar, last Damodar Lila. That rope was 2 fingers short. One finger represents endeavor and the other finger represents grace, mercy. So we have to put all our endeavor, and then independent of that, Krishna will give mercy. That's why Bhaktivedanta Thakur would say, don't try to see Krishna. He would say, serve Krishna in such a way that he wants to see you. That is our mood, And then next class, we will discuss, okay, Narada could not see, he kept trying. He couldn't see Krishna, but something beautiful happened. He couldn't see Krishna, but he could hear Krishna. Krishna did not appear before him, but Krishna spoke something to us through him. Because we also are chanting for so many years and still we get distracted by the material energy. We are feeling, Krishna kahan hai? Kya chal raha hai? Why am I struggling so much? Morning we wake up the deities, we get up early in the morning. Where is Krishna? But मैं रोज सुबह मंदिर में घंटी बजाता हूँ, सोया हुआ खुद हूँ, भगवान को जगाता हूँ. That is our condition, I'm myself sleeping, but Krishna, wake up Krishna, we're feeding Krishna. So when will we wake up? When will our heart become Sanjeeva yat Akila Shakti? When will our senses become spiritualized? So this we will discuss next time. But to conclude, let us say you are not attracted to Krishna's form so much. Let's say you find it very, you come from a background where, okay, deity worship, because I was traveling in the West, this challenge I face all the time because people are from Jewish and Catholic backgrounds. In all over Europe and US, anybody interested in religion, spirituality, they have this background of seeing idols and deities. So they can't connect. So we tell them, okay, if you can't connect to the form, beautiful form of the Lord, then at least you try something like this. Connect to something which is eternal, something which doesn't die, something which is timeless. And in that space, if you live, then slowly you will be able to connect with Krishna also. Like what I mean by that is, for example, like sometimes, this is what I do. I go to Babulnath temple also sometimes. I go here. Means when I go for a walk in Chowpatty Beach also, if you go for a walk on a seashore, when you're seeing the ocean, you know that the ocean is in one sense eternal compared to your fragile existence. When you look at the full moon, you know that this full moon was there 5,000 years ago when Krishna appeared. This full moon was there when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared 500 years ago. This full moon was there when Indian independence movement was going on. So when you connect with the nature, when you connect with things that have always been there, like, okay, you are come to this area. So sometimes, if you can't connect to Krishna's form, at least you can connect to this area. Okay, what was it like? There was a king ruling this area in the 12th century. His name was King Bhimadev. You can meditate and enter this space. And he had some 5 or 6 sets of deities. And over a period of time, they got lost. In the year 1700, one boy called Babul, he was herding cows and he got the Shivlinga, which was worshipped by King Bhimadev. So then everybody started worshipping that. It became Babulnath. And then around 1740, they made a temple. In 1883, it was renovated by all the Gujaratis and Marwadis. And in 1964, there was a huge thunderstorm and the top dome broke. So now what I'm telling you is I'm basically taking on a time journey. I'm talking about how this place is not something which has just come out of nowhere. It has been there it has always been there. When you enter a timeless space, you connect to, because there is something timeless within you also. There is something within you which doesn't die. So when you are entering that space where there is something doesn't die, then that deathless within you connects to the deathless outside of you. And that's how your spiritual journey begins. If nothing works, then when you take your shoes from the shoe store, look at those 2 putlas there. Keshav Bahadur and that other fellow, Parsi, they were managing the orphanage in 1920s. तो तब से है orphanage, a temple complex. Gandhiji used to come here to take darshan of Lakshmi Narayan, used to give sukudi to our orphanage children. So sometimes I connect to this time element. And when you see the big power of time, the huge power of time, and how we are timeless, then we connect to what is called as Brahman, the undying soul. And then from there we begin. And then slowly our spiritual journey, from Brahman it comes to Bhagavan aspect. So we can take it up next time, more details about the verses from 20th verse onwards. Any comments for today's class? I'm 5 minutes over time. Hare Krishna. We'll stop here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much. I also want to thank all the devotees who come online. Thank you for coming for the class. Hare Krishna.